Welcome to Horns Up, and this episode is probably one of the reasons why Horns Up exists. Yes, all of this, all our 90 odd episodes so far, are basically an excuse for both Peter and me just to talk about and talk to heavy metal musicians we really respect. And in the case of the band we're featuring today, it's a bit deeper than that because High Spirits is a band that I literally fell in love with at first listen. Their 2011 album, Another Night, is a must have for anybody who listens or likes music, even if you're not a metalhead. Right, Peter?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so much about that album. I mean, I can gush and go on and on about it.
And now we've got the band's frontman and songwriter, Chris Black, who also goes by Professor Black, and is probably one of the most hard-working musicians in the world today, considering his career discography that spans many numerous projects. Well, High Spirits have a new album out on 31st July. It's called Hard to Stop. Give it a listen, and here's the interview with Professor Black.
Professor Black, I'm super excited to have you on Horns Up. How are you doing today?
So far so good today, and thank you for having me. I know you guys. I know you guys work hard and cover a lot of different styles. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be included. So, thank you.
Thank you for saying that. So let's dive in straight to the latest album, Hard to Stop. Albeit,
Yes,
I'd like to begin on a slightly lighter note. How many puns have you read or heard about the album title already? You know, the fact that listening to it is hard to stop, etc., etc.
Well, that's the beauty of it, I think, and that's exactly what kind of made up my mind that this was a good title for the album. Is that you can interpret that in so many different ways, and there's no correct interpretation. I wasn't thinking specifically of any of those possible meanings. I was thinking of all of them, and I think that's why it's such a good album title. Is somebody can kind of form their own association or their own innuendo or their own pun about it, and that's fine with me. It's like I said, all the answers are correct.
On a slightly serious note, what was your intent and hope for Hard to Stop as an album?
Same as always, really. I wanted to make the best High Spirits album that I was capable of making right now. This time specifically, it sounds strange to say so, but I didn't want to try too hard. I didn't want to overexert myself with pressure to make the song sound a certain way or have a certain characteristic or atmosphere. I really tried to just not get stuck in those loops of kind of overthinking. That's what I was trying to avoid, was overthinking, not trying to so much to control the songs as to let the songs kind of be in control and form the way they seem to wish to form. And it kind of was the same mentality, I think, when I was working on the first album, Another Night, because there was no very strong precedent already for what High Spirits was supposed to sound like. And then that album comes out, and for albums 2 and 3, it's like, well, I have this kind of expectation, or this, people will have this, these assumptions for what the songs might sound like or what the atmosphere of the album is going to be. And I think I let myself get a little bit distracted by that with those albums, whereas with Hard to Stop, I said, you know what, I'm just going to put everything out of my mind and say, you know what, I don't care if this song sounds like a particular style or a particular has a particular tempo or heaviness, or maybe it's missing some heaviness. I was purposely not letting myself have those thoughts while I worked on this album. So it was kind of a reset, I guess you could say, in that way.
Okay. Yeah, your answer perfectly segues into my next question, which was actually, it starts off with a slight opinion, which is that it's really tough for me personally to have solid objective opinions about new music by artists and bands I'm a super fan of. Does that kind of a thought play on you as a musician at all, weighing the fans' expectations versus your reality?
Well, it does. So, yeah, like I was just saying,
Hmm.
it's kind of easy to, or not easy, but I can be in the habit of trying to imagine myself as the listener and like, well, is this going to, is this going to work for people? And I think again, especially with You Are Here, I kind of fell into that trap. Less so with Motivator, but
Hmm.
I still kind of had these barriers up with Motivator, and this time I kind of realized, again, it was like a reset or a reboot. Um, Part of I just needed to trust myself and say, you know what, the audience trusts me they trust me to make the best High Spirits album that I can right now. So that's all I have to do. It's as simple as that. Um, but I had to, I had to kind of wake up to that fact, and I'm glad I did. Again, it felt the process this time felt very fresh and very confident.
Mm. Okay. It's weird you say that because I got the feeling that you seem to be expanding the high spirit sound as such with this album. Of course, the pop punk nature of Voice in the World is an obvious example, but overall, I felt that quite a few of these songs here on this album seem to slightly move away from what we heard on earlier albums.
I think so. I think so, and I think that's a result of my kind of taking the ropes off a little bit and just letting things progress in their own way. So I do agree, and I hope that'll be a good thing in the long run.
Definitely, I
I
definitely think it should.
I don't mean this the wrong way, but you're 5 albums in. Has it become tougher to write songs for high spirits?
Uh, no, I don't think so. Because I'm writing songs, or I should say, I'm writing pieces of songs. I'm having ideas for songs uh, all the time, and I keep track of them. I have on my PC in the studio. I have a big sound file that's it's probably 2 hours long of riffs and ideas or melodies and everything, and it's very easy. Maybe not right at that moment when I'm having the idea and kind of sketching it out, but if then later I am kind of, should we say, in high spirits mode. I'm in the mode of working on high spirits. I can go back to that pile and kind of that gallery of ideas, and from that vantage point, it's very easy for me to see which of those ideas might be useful for a high spirits song or for a high spirits record. So no, I don't think it gets. I don't think it gets harder. At
All
least
right.
it
So,
may in the future, but I haven't felt that yet.
at this point, we'd like to play a song from Hard to Stop. Which
Sure.
one should we play and why?
Ooh. Well, Restless has been kind of our pick for the launch track. That's been the preview track that we've circulated on YouTube and on Bandcamp. But I don't know. I would like you guys to pick.
That's a tough one.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Which song do you think best represents Hard to Stop at the moment for you?
Okay. Let's say the opening song, Since You've Been Gone, because I think that opening, the very beginning of the song with that kind of repeating guitar melody,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that to me is very much the gateway to the rest of the album. So I think maybe for that reason it's I mean, you can't get into the album without passing through that gateway. So
Fabulous choice. And must I say that was going to be my choice too.
Ah, perfect. See?
All right, so here it is. Now, Professor Black or Chris, I don't know what I should call you, but
Chris, please.
anyways, okay. So, Chris, there's a quote from an interview you've done that says that high spirits changed me. It, creatively speaking, my whole world expanded. A new realm of possibility opened up. So, take us back to the past. What made you want to start high spirits in the first place?
The way I've explained it before, and maybe it makes sense, is I picked up the guitar. I picked up the same guitar, but I logged in as a different user.
Okay.
And it was at the time when I was just getting interested in recording on the computer, using audio software rather than recording onto tape through a mixing console and all of that. Um, and it was just a moment when I was having kind of all these new ideas, musically and lyrically, and at the same time as learning this software and this kind of different process for my songwriting. It all kind of converged and became high spirits, and it did. It changed it changed my process very much, but it also changed the way I kind of viewed what I do creatively. I mean, that was the time when I kind of really turned and said, well, okay, I'm not a, because when I was younger, I always thought I would be a drummer. That's what I am. I'm a drummer. And then, a little later, it's, oh, well, okay, I'm still a drummer, but in this band, I'm singing and playing bass, but I'm still really a drummer, or maybe I'm a singer now. And, I didn't have a concept of myself as a songwriter, as a concept of myself as being a songwriter, as that being what I do until later, um, it really didn't become clear until 2004, 2005, which is still a
Yeah.
few years ahead of High Spirits. But I think when High Spirits kind of sprang up is when I saw kind of the way, again, it was when I was first getting interested in recording on audio software, which is very different from recording on tape, and just kind of the things I could do in that realm, and the way that it could fit to my musical ideas. And it's been a different perspective and a different process for me since then.
I think what separates high spirits from a lot of bands that attempt a similar sound is the emotional and relatable value in the music. You can hear it in the lyrics, and there's a lot of conviction in the output. Was it a conscious decision to tailor the lyrical themes to help accessibility?
I think yes and no. I think that's a yes and no answer.
Okay.
Um, and there's a third point in that equation, which is the sound of my voice. Um, obviously I'm not an aggressive, growling type of singer, but I'm also not the kind of operatic power metal singer with tons of sustain and vibrato and all of this. I have a pretty limited range of what I can do with my voice. So I think that is also kind of a factor in, that delivery needs to be kind of balanced with the lyrics themselves, which in turn need to be kind of balanced with the music. So I think it's all one single triangle, or however many points. I don't know if it's a triangle or a square, but it's all kind of one cohesive delivery, where the riffs and the atmosphere of the recording and the character of my voice and the character of the lyrics are all kind of in sync. And I think that's what makes it so potent to the audience, is that everything kind of is all firing in the same direction.
Hmm. Okay. So to just build upon that slightly, and this one could be a long answer, but I'd like you to help us understand what makes high spirits, high spirits. I mean, could you help us understand the filters in your head for making high spirits music, say with respect to the sound or production, or say the songwriting, or the overall feel of what high spirits music is?
Well, then the songs need to pass a certain it's a gut thing. It's kind of like I just have the hunch that this is a high spirit song versus some other kind of song, or it's hard to sum up. It's a gut thing. It's very intuitive. Whether something is high spirits or whether it's something else. These songs, once I do begin working on them, the songs do have to pass there's a secret test that I will never reveal, but which is very accurate as to whether a song passes for high spirits or not. And I've tested it positively, and I've also tested it negatively. Meaning I've included a song I've included a song that did not pass the secret test, and it turns out, yes, it wasn't very good, and I shouldn't have included it. So beyond that, though, again, it's very intuitive and instinctive, except for when it's not, I should add, because there have been times when I've written a song and not been sure. Okay, yes, it qualifies as high spirits, but does it also qualify for something else? Would it be better off in one of my other projects? And there have been times when I've kind of circulated things to other people, saying, what do you think? Does this one fit, or does it not? Even the song "Full Power," which in hindsight, "Full Power" is obviously a high spirits song. It's very much one of our signature songs, I think. But there was a time when I first wrote that song that I had doubts. I was not sure that would fit in the high spirits.
Really?
I thought it was, honestly, I thought it was too metalized. I thought it was too aggressive, even.
Wow.
And so there was a period of several months where I got this song "Full Power." I don't know where it's going to end up, but it'll end up somewhere, and just move on for now. But and like I said, obviously in hindsight, it's absolutely a high spirit song. But at the time, like I said, it's a gut feeling, except when it's not. Sometimes you have to wait for the feeling.
Okay, and with respect to sound or production, I mean, is there a distinctive tone to high spirits music? Does it always have to be warm as such?
I think so. I think it needs a certain. It does. It needs a certain reverb on the voice. Adds a lot. There's actually, the farther back you go, I think the more effects like that, like even on the demos, I think even the delay effect on the vocals was kind of almost part of the music in the case of certain songs. But yeah, I mean, there is a certain sound. The guitars have to be very prominent, especially the melody guitars, because that is what kind of drives the song when the vocals are taking a break. That's very common in rock music. You sing verse, chorus, and then you have a guitar solo, and then the singer comes back. But with certain high spirit songs, it's a little more intricate than that. Sometimes within the verse of a song, there's a little bit of give and take, or trade off between the vocal and the guitar, maybe kind of noodling around a little bit too. So I think that's production wise, I think that's a big part of it too, is the interaction between the vocal and the guitars.
You've previously described yourself as a singer-songwriter. That's a description that still gets eyebrows to raise amongst metal fans as such. Why do you think that is? Is there a stigma in metal around singer-songwriters?
I think the stigma is around that term. I think if you step back and say, okay, what does a singer-songwriter? If you take the definition of that term and then kind of walk through the halls of heavy metal, you'll find a lot of people that do qualify. You can talk of Blackie Lawless, Quorthon from Bathory. Rolf Kasparek from Running Wild is another one. These are basically at their core, these are singer-songwriters, and they dress up the background of their music in a way that is very heavy metal, and their image is very heavy metal. But nonetheless, what they are as a singer-songwriter, I mean, I don't see how you can look at Blackie Lawless and think anything anything. Oh, Dio, there's another one. So if you look, if you kind of put the, you know, whiny hippie with an acoustic guitar at the coffee shop image, if you put that aside and just think of musically what that term means, singer-songwriter, what that means musically, I think you'll find a lot of examples in heavy metal.
Yes, yes. Which leads me to my next question. Now, over the years, you've taken High Spirits from a studio project to a live band.
Yes.
And being a musician myself, I know it's natural for musicians to improvise and add their own flair or style or even come up with ideas. And there's always a case for making great music as a result of collaboration. So
Yes.
the question really is, will we ever see a collaborative High Spirits release?
I don't believe we will, because I'm too afraid to break the machine. The machine is running very well right now, and has been, for the 10 or 11 years that we've been doing it, and that's both the recording artist version of High Spirits and the live band version of High Spirits. Like, they're both running extremely well. I mean, I couldn't have wished for a bigger success on either side, and honestly, I think to try to reverse engineer the writing and recording process, it might turn out better, it might not, but it wouldn't be the same. It would kind of it would deviate from what I mean. Part of what makes High Spirits sound the way it does is because I am a limited singer, because I am especially a very limited guitar player, but that gets projected onto the songs in a particular way that's part of what gives them their identity. I think is the flaws that I bring to the writing and recording game. So no, I don't think so. We had talked about doing kind of like a one-off session, like do a song or two with the live band, and I'd be very interested to do that when the time is right, just for fun. But I think in terms of writing and recording an album together, I don't imagine that happening. No.
Okay. Now, there's an interview of yours where you say making music is my second favorite thing to do. So what really is the first? Do you remember that one?
You can guess, I think.
All right. Okay, cool. I must now, given this chance to talk to you, I have to say that from the band's discography, 2011's Another Night is the one that I keep revisiting the most. It's by far one of my favorite albums ever.
Thank you.
That's a view that's echoed by several fans, not just me. And I'm sure you've already heard that from several people. I also read somewhere that you consider that album to be the project's best effort. Has that changed with Hard to Stop? And the other question really is, why do you think that album, Another Night, resonated so much with those who listened to it?
Well, I don't remember saying that it's my favorite. I think what I have said is that it's been the most successful in terms of the number of copies that it's sold, in terms of the audience really responding to it, and obviously when we play live, we do play 4 or 5 songs from that album every night. We have to. That's what people want to hear. Whether it's my favorite in the long term, that's really hard to say. I am big on Hard to Stop right now because it's the newest one. It sounds the most fresh and the most up to date to me. But I think a lot of people do agree with you that Another Night is their favorite and the one that they will keep returning to. And in many cases, that was the one where they first discovered the band. And I think that is a strong force. There are a lot of people who alternatively say that You Are Here is their favorite, which we don't hear as much, but we do hear. And then I say, well, I bet that was the first one you heard. And they say, yes, it was. So this is a very common phenomenon that is hard to break. But I think to answer the other part of your question, I think it was good timing more than anything. As much of as random, let's say, as that sounds, I think people were just in the mood for an album that sounded like that, or that gave them that particular feeling. And I think we got it in in just the right moment. And you're right. It has really endured for a lot of people, and that makes me feel awesome. I don't know how best to say it. Like that's just. I think that is so cool that it has reached so many people in different ways. That's just. I mean, that's what you want as a songwriter and as a recording artist. You want to make that connection, and so it's just for me. I'm just hugely grateful for High Spirits and for that album in particular. If that's the album that did it, then so be it. That's great.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that. Okay, I must get your views on another kind of topic as such that seems to be picking up a lot of debate around, or is being talked about a lot around, which is the whole thing about formats. In this day and age, doing a single versus doing an EP versus doing an album.
Yes.
Where do you stand on that format debate as such?
Well, I still like albums. I still think that the album is a good size for listening to music, for recording music, and for listening. I think that 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I think that's a good attention span for everybody. But I understand that's not true for everybody, and a lot of people are more singles oriented, and they listen to songs and listen to music differently from the ways that I might. My philosophy when it comes to High Spirits, again, we were talking about that connection that Another Night had with so many people. That doesn't have anything to do with format. That has to do. That's the songs, So just because somebody has it on LP or somebody else has it on Spotify, the connection is exactly the same. So to me, I want it to be available to the people who want to listen to it, and for them to listen to it in whatever way they want. If they play it through their television on YouTube, that's great. If they play it on their turntable, that's also great. It doesn't matter to me. Musicians, we want two things, right? We want to be heard, and we want to be paid. And
that's true. I agree.
That's a bit of a trade-off. I mean, it seems like you can kind of have one or the other, or maybe a tiny bit of one and a lot of the other, or something. It's never an exact balance. But I think when it comes down to it, if we had to choose one or the other, we would choose to be heard. And I think again, the format, the mechanisms by which we are heard, like that doesn't matter to me. The music is the music. It is what it is. Enjoy.
At this point, this is the question I've been waiting to ask you ever since I've discovered your music over the last decade or so. So here it goes.
Okay.
Apart from High Spirits, you've got, I'm going to take a deep breath before this, Dawnbringer, Actor, Professor Black, Super Christ, Pharaoh. How do you mentally distinguish between each project from the other?
It became difficult. It became quite difficult around 2013, 2014 to kind of keep track of all these threads. And that was honestly, that was at the point where I realized I needed to kind of close off certain certain projects. Superchrist split in 2013, Dawnbringer in 2016, and that was at the point where I started to kind of bring some ideas together just as Professor Black and start doing these kind of solo projects and solo albums as an alternative to starting a new project every time I had a new idea, because that was getting difficult to keep track of. I was feeling overwhelmed. So the trade-off then becomes that under the Professor Black name, there's no guarantees for what it might sound like. It's going to be chaos, and I'm going to with the albums that came out in 2018. I'm going to do my best, as I did, to let you know from the album cover and from the presentation what the music is going to sound like. I think with I Am the Rock, it's very easy to tell from the album cover what the music is going to be. So from now on, it's just going to be, I guess, aside from Actor and Pharaoh, it's just going to be Professor Black. That's kind of my all-in catch-all container for my future ideas.
Now, given your stature and body of work, do you get a lot of people coming up to you and asking for advice? Where do you find musicians generally needing help? What do you tell them?
Usually, my advice usually is be patient. Stay still. Don't be a moving target. People will come to you. Don't change what you're doing to try to meet an audience that is far away from you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the audience that you have as close as you can, and let that wider audience come to you when the time is right. And make sure you're in that spot that's yours, so that they know where to find you. I think if you keep changing your concept, changing your music, changing your look, that becomes frustrating for you, but also for the audience. You need to stick to what you do, be patient, and let your niche kind of. I mean, you can't occupy anybody else's niche. If there's two people in a niche, it's no longer a niche. So you need to wait for your own niche to kind of form around you, and then you stay there.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. So, Chris, Chris, we've kept you for quite some time. So here is our final question, and it brings back high spirits to the conversation. 11 years in, has high spirits matched your ambition for it?
Oh, high spirits exceeded my ambition within 6 months or less. High spirits has been all bonus. We never had any particular, beyond writing these songs and kind of exploring these new musical ideas of mine. I had no ambitions, no intentions. All we've done is kind of answer the demand, say yes to these opportunities that we've been given. It's been awesome. I couldn't have planned it better.
All right. So what's next for the band after, of course, this entire album cycle?
Yes. Well, next, we're eager to get back out on the road and play some of these songs live. But we're also patient. We're willing to wait for the time to be right and for the conditions to be exactly right. For us and for the audience, of course. So right now we have some gigs booked for next year. Some stuff that we had scheduled for this year that's now postponed. So we're looking forward to that very much. And if it turns out we have to wait even a bit longer, I mean, maybe we'll do another record. or get into some more solo material on my end. I'm not really sure. I think everybody around the world right now is just kind of in a holding pattern. You know, we have to wait this one out, wait out the current phase, and hope that the next phase is the best one yet.
Can't wait to see what's next in store. It'll be hard to stop. I said.
Harder to stop.
Chris, on that note, thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
guys. Thank you guys. This was great.
I must say,
Yes.
and we're already putting our hand forward for this. If you ever wish to divulge the secret behind what makes high spirits, please do get in touch with us. We'd definitely love to know.
Give you
And
the scoop.
if it is,
I think you'll
yes,
have to
give
wait
us
for
the
the
scoop.
book, I think.
Yeah, and if it involves being guinea pigs in any manner, you can sign us up too. All right. On that note, thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much.
Peter, I'm going to get a bit senti here. Thanks for doing this with me, because it's interviews like the one we just heard that makes Horns Up, well, Horns Up.
True, man. I mean, I still remember a while back, I can't remember which album it was. I actually wrote out to Professor Black, and considering he's easily one of the most hardworking musicians, right? Because he gave me that, okay, let's get in touch like 4 or 5 months from now. And I was like, okay. But yeah, man, when an opportunity like this comes your way, it certainly makes you feel great. And yeah, I'm glad we finally got a chance to speak to him. And of course, all thanks to his latest album, Hard to Stop.
That's all for this episode. You know the drill. Get in touch with us at hornsupod.com. Tweet us at hornsupod. I'm at Asmo Ani.
I'm at Trend Crusher.
And this is Horns Up.
Horns up, guys.